Hello everyone, my name is Jocelyn Resga Espinoza, and for my final project, I decided to hone in on the film Green Snake. Okay, so a little bit about the introduction of it. I just want you to envision like two women with a flowing green and white silk wrapped around their slim bodies, making them seem like flowing waves in a river. But even though they looked human, there was something hiding beneath the surface. They weren't just humans, they were actually snake spirits, demons, and ghosts. But there was something more to them. Like even though they were seen as those things, there was something human about them. So a little bit about my argument is the challenges traditional beliefs regarding morality and the afterlife. So in this film, Green Snake, by I'm gonna probably butcher his name, but Sui Hark's Green Snake film, as I said before, it challenges gender roles, morality, and the afterlife by encapsulating an alluring transgressive femininity that destabilizes confusion binaries of good and evil and human and non-evil. Um, through like this visual representation, they kind of like bring the symbol of green. So this character green is like this visual representation, how they, kind of visualize her is she has like serpent movements. She has a sensual sense of style. She has like ambiguous morality. Um, Green Snake is kind of becomes like this like a symbol of emotional complexity and moral ambiguity, undermining the rigid moral frameworks that typically define ghosts and demons in Chinese tradition. So green is very much just like statement of like not all gender roles and like morality and like afterlife has to be based on like Chinese traditional beliefs. So instead of being like this put together woman, modest, like familial, she's actually the opposite of that. She's very alluring. She's almost kind of flirtatious. She's curious. She's independent. Like she's very the opposite of these beliefs. Like she's really this statement piece of um the like kind of de or undermining Confucial beliefs. So a little bit of like the history and background of Chinese, like a traditional Chinese history of like ghosts and demons and female ghosts. So female ghosts were actually seen as warnings. So if a woman was perceived to be too emotional, independent, maybe even erotic, she was seen to be like a warning. Like and if she were to pass away, she would be seen as like a demon or almost like an evil spirit. And not many women want to hear that. You don't want to hear, oh, just because you're independent, just because you have this sexual feelings or tension and not as modest as they'd like you to be, you're gonna be something evil. But green is totally something different. Like that's not what she's represented in this film. But a little bit more about ghosts and demons. They're kind of seen as a message from the past. So again, it kind of relates to like the female ghosts, like how they were warnings, like depending on like how they were. So it's kind of like their gender roles and morality kind of type of thing. So green kind of defines those things. So even though ghosts and demons were seen as to have like no emotion and to be even evil, it kind of showed us green showed us that wasn't the case. Green again was again the opposite of that. And it also shows us about gender, afterlife, and morality, once again th through green. So an academic source that I've got here is from one of the chapters I've read. It's chapter 8, Life and Death, image. I don't really recall the book name, but I know it's on page 234, and I do have it in my sources. But this kind of character, Wang Shu, kind of sees this portrait and he's so entranced by it, and he just sees this woman in it, and he even thinks it comes to life at a certain point where he hears moaning, but come to figure out it was one of his buddies having sexual intercourse with another woman. And to really bring her to life, he sees her like as this woman who doesn't talk back, who's kind of reliant on him, who doesn't complain, and has no emotions. So it kind of shows how men really saw this as like, oh, like perfect. This is my perfect woman. Like not having thoughts, not having a voice pretty much. So it really shows like Confucian thinking of like transgressive femininity, how they didn't want them to really have like their own personal interests, their own independentness. It kind of like dehumanizes the women, even as ghosts. So even like women on their deathbed, usually typically they would get portraits done of them to really like encapture like this everlasting like beauty within them. But it was also thought that it would capture the ghost almost. So he's this ghost or portrait was seen as, like not to have emotions and maybe even a little bit of evil into it. And it just shows kind of how it had like this perfect woman though. Like she didn't talk, she had no emotions, and that's how ghosts were perceived. But Green is not that. She's independent. Again, she's out there. She really wants to know. She's curious. So she's nothing like Wang Shu would like, and that's what really makes Green stand out. So a little bit about the intro, it just shows us like these two women again. It's White and Green. So White is over here and Green's over here. I don't think that's her actual name in the story. I don't remember it since Green mostly called her sister. But you can see how they're dressing and kind of see like you can see a little bit see-through. You can see the layers beneath. You can see how they're just beautiful. How they have these like like a little design here. She has lipstick. Like they're just they look very beautiful almost, and but they're perceived almost as evil. But in this story, they're different. Like White is more kind of formal. She's almost a little bit of the Confucian thinking. She's formal almost, but yet she still has that like sexual tension to her. She really wants him, but she's seen as more reliant almost because she really wants a man. And Green's more curious. She just wants to learn. She wants to know how humans are. So that's a little bit of the difference between them two. So further in, as we get deeper into the thing, we see Green lets herself fall from the ceiling onto the floor as she's like very entranced by the this Indian woman dancing. And you can see she's revealing just a little bit of stomach, and you can see in the background there's men and women kissing. There's just this very erotic scene almost. And you can see that when she falls, she's naked. She's completely naked. Her breasts are to the floor though, and but you can see her exposed back, and you can see just when she gets up, she has like a luring look to her. And this is the scene, a little bit of it, if I can get to it. But this is the dancing, and you can see how just kind of erotic they look, how they're presented. And that is like their snake tails or whatever you want to call them. But you can see this woman dancing, this Indian woman dancing, and she just seems it seems just to be Green's perceived a little bit more sexual. She can see how she is, like it's very out there kind of thing. You can see how they're brushing up against each other. They're very, again, almost sexual in a sense. That's how they're perceived. You can see the women and men in the background, and this is when Green falls. And you can see again her exposedness, and they seem to take almost a liking to this. It doesn't really scare them. And you can see just her facial features, how she is. It's very alluring, very erotic. It's not very put together. It's not modest in a sense. And you can see how fun she's having. Like, she's out there. She's different from this Confucian thinking of being modest, of being reliant, of just being this different figure. She's very different. She's more than that. And we see again, she's, just dancing and White's doing her own thing, finding her man. And again, this is where we see, and this is even when this gets even more sexual. It says more curiosity. So you can see her just like going around. This is where like snakes up and really gets like that kind of breaks that gender role of like modesty and everything and morality. So she starts even having this almost sexual tension or intercourse per se with this Indian woman. You can see how fun she's having. She's kind of enjoying it. She's kind of learning more about like the body. So, another academic source that I got was from Ling Lu. His article or book that we've read also in one of our modules. And this is page 35. And this is basically just a brief little summary about it. Is basically saying how he doesn't like the female transgression. He doesn't like that they might even have that power. Like he really wants to like oppress them. He wants them to be like this just confusion like he has these Confucian values. He doesn't want women to have this like openness. And again, Green is nothing like that at all. She's very like she defies those Confucian like values. She's out there. So it shows how even though, you know, in Chinese beliefs they want the in Confucian Chinese beliefs, they wanted women to be this like modest, perfect figure and not have any like sinful acts like attractions, like or even like flirtatiousness. They just wanted them to be, and they didn't even want them to be independent. They didn't want them to have thoughts. So it's kind of like green's a symbol to like break those like values, those Confucian values, and even like those gender roles and even morality. Like she's again out there, she's flirtatious, she's curious, she's engaging in sexual acts. You can see it on her face, even though she doesn't have proper emotions yet. She's curious. She really wanted to get to know that Indian woman, even again broke those gender roles instead of being woman on man love, it was woman on woman, and it just kind of like shows that she's not those Confucian like values that they want so much. So this is a little bit clash with morality. So Faye the monk and Green kind of get this encounter later on in the film where she accidentally kind of shocks the brother, the her sister's husband to death. So she surprises him to death pretty much, or I forget the right expression, or scares him to death, more like it. But the monk, Feihi, I probably didn't pronounce that right, but he's seen as cold and robotic and not capable of true emotion. So it kind of gets that clash of wow, like these demons are actually being nice because you even see White and Green even helping like or mostly White, but she helps the townspeople like regain health and things like that. And here you can see Green again, like her clothing that I've explained before. It's flowy, it's out there, it's green, it's vibrant. It's very different than a modest way of dressing. And you can even see just her face. You can see how she's curious, how she's kind of like confused, like she's kind of almost begging him to like I'm okay. And this monk is you can see that he's like almost dehumanized. Like even though he's supposed to be this godly power that helps, you know, like take away evil, he's more of this like almost has this sense of evil in itself. Not truly evil, not intentionally, but it's there. A little bit continuation. So one of the scenes, this is like around 120, 23 to like 127, 51. Is like Green starts to develop emotions. So when she's this scene, they're fighting just to get White's husband back, and you can see that Green's just there to like she's getting this sympathy. She gained this sympathy of she wants her sister to be happy. She wants them to be together. And even White begs the monk and he says, no, like you guys are evil. But in the process, he's destroying these people's houses. He's destroying the townspeople houses. He's putting their lives in danger. And you can see even Green and the Green Snake or Green and White are trying to help and trying to kind of put sense into him, being like, you are doing more harm than you're doing good. And you can see even later when they get this interaction, he sees that the white snake has, you know, given life, and he and Green's trying to tell him, like she gave life, but you're destroying life, and he doesn't seem to care. He just kind of disregards that, and that's when you see that Green, even though she's getting this emotional, like getting this emotional like raw like feelings, it kind of goes again against like gender roles and like morality, like even though like you know Confucian people didn't it told them, you know, told women you're not supposed to be emotional. She was emotional. She was this like emotional symbol showing that women could be vulnerable, they could, but yet they could be independent and they could be strong and they could be right. um so it's a little bit beyond the stories, but traditional ghost stories were merely told kind of like in black and white. So it's like good and bad, evil and good, I guess, and like human and non-human. But in the film, it kind of shows us like this kind of gray area, showing us it even though they were demons and maybe did some bad things, they still helped the townspeople, they still healed them. Whitesnake truly did love her husband, and it shows that even Green loved her sister. She didn't want to be separated from her. She begged her, "Don't leave me, don't leave me." And you see that sense of human, like, you know, that human sense. And you can see when they're together and they're playful and they're erotic, that even shows like kind of bends again, like the morality and the gender roles. Like instead of these women not showing that much of like affection and independentness, it was more like Green had that. She had that independentness. She would go out. She did what she wanted even when White wasn't there. She had that like pride and that freedom. Excuse me. The importance, like why is this relevant relevant why is this a relevant matter for today's world? The film is not merely just for our entertainment. It really highlights thinking of the time era, so the confusional thinking of like morality and like gender roles and like how women should be perceived. Um, it was really just to show us that like this black and white thinking needed to change. It needed to be like the film Green Snake. It needed to be in that grayish area. And it really prompts us to like thinking the identity of like gender and morality and like are far more intricate than these ghost stories are perceiving. Like women don't need to be this picture perfect thing and they don't need to be oppressed. They need to be let out. And green is very much that symbol of showing that can happen. But sometimes these demons and ghosts shouldn't be seen as something bad. It actually should be, it's almost kind of like a reflection of our own like unspoken cravings or desires. So, some women may have been lustful, but they couldn't show it because they thought it was sinful. And it kind of just shows how it's okay. Like it shows that, we really had this raw emotional, like we shouldn't like have like suppressing these emotions. Like it's okay. Like the way we live is okay. Like we're not defined by our ifs and maybes in our lives. Like and ghosts were really here to like they maybe weren't here to disturb our peace, but to show us that we were humans. And Green was really a big statement throughout this film, showing us that it's okay to like be a human, be more and to defy those Confucian rules. And I want to thank you for taking your time out of the day to listen to my TED Talk. Thank you so much.